I've sold my art ranging from $3 cards that scaled into a 250K a year business to original paintings and prints that were selling as low as $45 or higher to $8,000 per original painting. I've done it all. I've seen a lot. I've tested lots of things. And I have some ideas around what works and what doesn't work. But I want you to know before I share this with you, high prices did not come natural to me and felt out of reach for me in the beginning. But here's what I learned and what I think most artists get wrong about pricing. And I wanted to share my experience in case you're debating on where you want to put your art in the world, what kind of pricing. So let's talk about low pricing first. The thing about low pricing that I think we really underestimate is that we have to sell so much work, and that is the only way that you're going to be able to make money as an artist is the volume. The volume is so incredibly demanding. So the volume is something that you will need to get really good at in terms of making, and that can be incredibly hard. And you need a volume of ideas as well. So the volume you're producing is not just a physical thing, but it's a creative thing as well. And my first really hard lesson in this was where I was literally working on a card order that we had. A retailer wanted 10,000 cards, and it was just from one retailer, and it was really painful to make. We had to make 10,000 cards in a short amount of time, and it was screen printed, and it was a ton of work for what we got out of it. And through that process, not only did we get physically burnout, but I also was producing a lot of ideas, and with that came a burnout that I learned creatively as well. In fact, I have such a big burnout story that I feel really strongly about this. The burnout is real when you're doing volume, and that cannot be avoided as far as I can see, because there's only one of you as an artist, and so that can be really tricky. But the hard part is, because it seems like it would be easier and more people can afford your work, it seems like a really great natural first place to start. And I think that's pretty common for all of us as artists, for most of us as artists anyway. And one time, my big aha moment was when I realized, okay, I can take a $3 card and I can turn that into a painting. So my first painting sold for $45, and I was thrilled because it was 10 times more than a card. So that was really exciting to me. And I was hooked on being able to put the same amount of effort in, but how do I get more money out of it for the same effort? So that's where I started going, okay, wait a minute, there's something here. The other thing I think that we want to talk about with low pricing is you need to grow a really good audience size, as in you need a lot of people. And this is where I think if you want to sell low prices, you can't underestimate the size of an audience that you need for this. You can't get around it. And I think the energy there goes to chasing viral reels and figuring out how to grow way above 50,000 followers on your Instagram. I'll tell you right now, my 10K audience can't sustain low pricing. It just can't. You need a big audience for low pricing. So that's real. I think that's where you have to decide, do you really want to put your energy into marketing and spending more time on that than your art? That's a decision you have to make. And I wanted to point that out because that is very real. I think the other thing I want to point out here too is that it's very hard to work with galleries. When you get galleries involved, which do help build your reputation, there's not enough money to go around in this lower price model. You have to really want to build your reputation if you want to grow as an artist. And again, I'm not saying that to make you feel like you have to work with galleries, because you don't. But once you start splitting the pie with other people like retailers, galleries, anyone who is going to take a commission, and even online platforms will do this as well. So it doesn't matter if it's a gallery or online platform. when you start dicing, here's the full price, you get a little, they get a little, and your material costs get a little. And so you're left with a very small amount when it comes to low prices. So you really want to think about this and make sure that you're not underestimating how much effort will be required for low prices. Here's another thing that I don't think a lot of people talk about. Low price customers, they're really hard. Low price customers tend to want deals. They want special agreements, special deliveries. And I really learned this with my art when I was selling larger scale paintings in the beginning, a good size painting. And I had a really good price on it already. And I had the husband of someone who wanted it haggle me to get a better deal. It was really time consuming. And once that whole deal was over, I realized I don't ever want to sell to people like that again, because it really made me undervalue the effort I put into that piece. I didn't feel good by the experience of it. And I had put in a lot of energy to it. You realize that you are in a price point that may cause you more problems than you really want. So that is where I started looking at changing my business model to higher prices, which sounds intimidating. And I will tell you, not everybody is capable of doing high prices right out of the gates. I wasn't one of them. I felt like they were out of my range, but I realized it was absolutely essential for me to become a better painter so that I could really understand how to get those higher prices that I really wanted. So let's get into the higher prices. So higher prices allow certain things. The disadvantages, you do have to grow as an artist, meaning you have to get better, you have to be more unique. But the plus side to that is a big plus. You get to spend more time on your art. I really love that. You really, really can spend more time on your art. And there's better margins, meaning when you're splitting the pie, you know, when you have the full price, even if you have galleries, cost of goods, here's galleries, here's you, that's a way bigger pie. That's a way bigger percentage than you can get with lower prices. So I figure, why not make more money with the same amount of effort, right? I'm still the same painter putting in the same amount of effort. I just happen to be basically better at painting, also having more of a unique point of view, and so you're able to charge for that. Another example of that is where some of my earlier paintings I was struggling to sell for $350, but as I got more unique and had something that was very unique to me and I became a better painter, I was able to do the same physical size of that painting and make $1,000 instead of $350. And so that is where I ended up landing, where I felt really good about it. Because when I put time into it, and you know, even the small ones take time, I was able to make more money off of those paintings. So that has been really, really positive for me. So I love the margins. The other thing is you need less of an audience, smaller audience. I don't know about you, but trying to grow a massive audience has never been really something that I wanted to do. Now, I think it's great if you want to do that, but you need fewer sales and you don't need that volume. Fewer sales really can make it more sustainable and something that you can actually grow into an artist that brings money to your pocket. And so you're chasing less sales and less audience. I haven't grown past 10K for years on Instagram. I've stayed at 10K for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. But the thing is, I've been able to refine my audience for better buyers over those years. So I haven't really grown, but I've kind of replaced people with better buyers. So that's the good news there. The other thing that I think is really something to think about, again, if you really want to make this as your career, is it's sustainable and you can spend more time on your art instead of growing an audience, and you won't burn out on the volume. That is really important to me. As you know from my burnout story, I did not want to churn and burn. Like, it's just not an option for me. So sustainability is something that is very important to me. All right, let's talk about something super important. You don't have to sell your soul. This might sound simple, but when you have to do volume and when you're haggling with people like that, you are literally selling your soul a lot more than you think. So when you start having a unique point of view that is true to who you are as an artist, you're not selling your soul. You're leaning into who you are and you're leveraging your unique strengths of who you are. And so this part here, honestly, is worth so much. And again, I've tried both, and I will tell you, I am a big fan of don't sell your soul. You don't need to. Funny enough, the higher the prices go, no one is haggling me, oddly enough, and no one is asking for discounts unless you want, but less discounting. I haven't discounted my artwork in so long, and I really truly believe this is because I've gone for higher price people, but I've been unique. So you can't just turn up your prices and expect great results. You do have to have a unique point of view. You have to be a good artist. And so there is an investment of time that you have to put into it. And what I love about this is you have more money in your pocket to treat your family, to treat yourself, to do the things that you want to do. Because if you're going to bother to sell your artwork, there's two things I recommend. You want to please yourself, you want to enjoy it, and you want to be able to make money that you can actually do something with so that you can buy your kids something special, which is usually what happens with my painting money, or treat the family out, or whatever it is, or make a literal income replacement. So it depends on what it is for you, but there is more money to actually do this. And again, with more effort in your art, but less effort in other areas. So the next question we have to decide really is, now that I've shared this point of view, which again is my personal opinion, you need to decide what's best for you. Is it low or is it high? And again, there is no one way is right. There's just a cost to doing both. And I think the thing is, you want to decide if you're up for low price, the cost is you need a large audience, and that you have to put into marketing, and you need volume. So that's your cost. Are you willing to pay that? High is a few things, but smaller audience, quality work, so you do have to put more time into your art, but quality time. That is my opinion on that. You can be more unique, you can be more innovating. And so the cost here is you lean into innovation for yourself. You lean into discovering you. So that is the cost. So you want to build an audience that's massive and you want to learn all the marketing hacks, and you'd rather be into marketing and you want to do just a ton of volume, not really caring about the quality because you're going to have to give that up if you're producing that volume? Or do you want to do a smaller audience, spend more time on your art, and really discover who you are as an artist so that you can be unique and figure that out? So those are really solid questions that you have to ask yourself. But I will say, with high prices, you definitely want to get positioning right. You want to understand your positioning, meaning how are you fitting into the world? And if you haven't seen the other two videos I have part of this series, you definitely want to check that out. I have got one all around if your art isn't selling and it's not your marketing, this is why, and I go into the competition a little bit more. And I also have another video explaining more about positioning and the 3 things that you can do to fix your art. So I recommend that you have a look at those videos if you want to learn more about that positioning angle as well. The short version here is that you have to have a unique point of view. You already have one, I promise you that. And a lot of times it's something that is really ordinary to you that is probably hiding in plain sight that is actually a superpower. So it is already there, and it's more about understanding how to pull that out in you. Then the other part to this is you need a reliable process for producing those kind of results, meaning you need a reliable, consistent process for filtering unique ideas, innovating, testing ideas, and understanding your unique point of view along the way. I don't just take a chance on this. I have a reliable process that I can repeat because I'm repeating the same steps that allow me to filter unique ideas, innovate, and really understand my unique point of view along the way. And I think that is where you get the best of both worlds, because you get to enjoy and discover who you are, spending more quality time. And then when you understand positioning, then you show up building that audience in a way that actually is meaningful. So that is really what I think works for high prices if you want to go that route. And when I say higher prices, if you want to sell anything 500 and above, you really need to start looking at this positioning and unique voice so that you don't get stuck doing a bunch of Instagram posts that don't get you any traction. So if you need help positioning your artwork to sell at higher prices, whatever that higher price is for you, I recommend start with fixing your art. It's worth the time and investment. And I do have a video where I talk about fixing these 3 things. So go ahead and watch that next. I will put that up here as the next video to watch and link it in the description. And there's also a link to my advanced method in the description. I highly recommend it if you're looking to find that unique voice. I use it in the studio every day, and I have for the past 8 years. I will see you in the next video.